Hello everyone and welcome back to another AFK Journey video. In this video we're going to be going over the top Dream Realm teams for the Alpha Bear boss on epic difficulty. The interesting thing about this boss is the top teams right now are the most free to play friendly of any boss teams. The top team right now is using Smokey, Odie, Coco, Lily May, and Reinier. So if you have these heroes you can pull off potentially the best overall team. Now this team actually didn't get the most consistent scores for me. I had a team that got a little bit better, which I'm going to show you after this run, but this was the highest score. Olgrey Gamer got about 54% of the boss's health, and this is just going to be the overall top scoring team for today. Now, Lily May is actually going to be in the frontmost tile position. Smokey is going to be to the left of this so that Smokey doesn't take as much aggro of the boss, because you want your Smokey to survive. The Alpha Bear boss deals a lot of burst damage, and that's why having both Smokey and Coco are really important for this team, because it will allow your team to survive. Give the healing from Smokey and the damage reduction from Coco. Reinier at Mythic Plus will position swap the OD into the front to tank the boss in the melee range, and this is important because the Alpha Bear has an ability, like he will use a skill that will deal massive AoE damage to your team if you don't have any ally tanking the front line like in one tile radius from him. So you want to have at least one ally there, but you don't want to have more than one ally. If there are multiple allies up in one tile like range, like melee distance to the Alpha Bear boss, he has one attack which will hit all heroes one tile around him, and then he will stack honey with them, and you don't want the boss to stack up honey quickly on your team, so you're going to want to have just one hero tank in the front. So now let's watch the replay. And Coco was behind this the Smokey, because that is going to give from her charms a bit of damage reduction to Smokey for the first 45 seconds, but in the first 45 seconds you're not even at a risk of dying, but it's just like might as well use the charm effect. And Lily May is up in the front because she can become untargetable, so it's not like an issue for her to be taking the most aggro from the Alpha Bear boss. Now Tide Call spell, this is one of the big changes, because from last week Resonating spell was the best choice for Alpha Bear, but Tide Call spell overall, especially when you get past the plus 20 upgrade, is going to be better for Alpha Bear for two reasons. First of all, it increases your damage output, because whenever the effect activates, it will cause the boss to take 25% bonus damage for 4 seconds. Also, it has really good offensive stats on it, crit and haste, which will increase your damage further. The other advantage of Tide Call, which is probably even more important, each time you activate it, the boss's attack will be reduced by, I think, 30% for 4 seconds, which will allow your team to survive for better. It is an artifact that not only increases your damage, it also increases your survivability. And in this boss, survival is really important, because the boss hits really hard, and you're going to see it right now. We're going to be closing in on our final score, and the boss is going to be blowing up the team. So Lily May and Odie, the best true damage dealers. Taylene is not a great option here, and neither is Lenya or Sinbad. This team is the overall top performer team, and I want to run this team on my account right now. We'll run it at ×2 speed, and just to make sure that I can get a new record. But there is another alternative if this team is not working out well for you. If, for example, your Smokey is dying too early, which was the problem for me. And we're going to show that team as well. So Tide Call spell triggering. Pretty much, well, everyone other than Coco on our team is stacked with honey. Now, Coco, I think, is also stacked, and the boss is going to unleash his attack. No, Coco didn't get stacked, but the rest of the team are all stacked with the honey. They take a lot of damage. Luckily here, both Odie and Lily May survive, so they're going to be able to get off a little bit more damage. 9 seconds left on the clock. Wow, so Odie and Lily May actually managed to survive pretty much the entire fight. Almost the entire fight. Yeah, this is pretty much the dream run for today's the epic difficulty. Okay, so now we're going to try that team on ×2 speed from my account. And yeah, okay, we're going to try it with the Tide Call spell. But yeah, Smokey definitely to the left position is going to be better for you. It will allow him to survive better and take less aggro. If you have him in the frontmost position, he's usually going to die a bit earlier. So let's try this team. If we could get the same luck as Olgrey Gamer, maybe I could get a new record with this, but currently my top scoring team does around 52.5%, I think, of the boss's health, and Olgrey Gamer got pretty much the perfect run and got 54%. So I find it unlikely I'm going to be able to match that. But yeah, this is really cool. It's cool that the Alpha Bear is using your free-to-play friendly damage dealer options. And if you don't have Lily May or Reinier at Mythic Plus, then I'm going to tell you of another team that you can run, but we'll do that testing at the end. Okay, so far so good. Everyone is alive. No one has come close to dying. Reinier might go down here. He does go down, but that's fine. Reinier is not really important for damage or anything here. It's really about the Smokey. You want the Smokey to survive, but now the Smokey goes down, which is a problem. And my Odie goes down in the front, see? So, like, Olgrey Gamer, at that point, his Odie managed to survive and get off additional damage. But now all I have is Lily May. And, yeah, it's not going to be enough to even break my record. So that is the thing with the Smokey. It's a bit risky. You can die towards the end. Now I'm going to show you the other team, which is really interesting. And you might be thinking, what is going on here? But it's position swapping the Mikola. Again with the Tidecall spell. So you'll have to have Mikola to run this team. And ideally Supreme Plus would be better. If not, you can run the Smokey team, because that also got a really good score. This one can get maybe 1 or 2% extra. But the advantage here is Mikola will then tank the front. In this position, her Curse Sphere is gonna trigger onto Odie and Lily May both. She's gonna be buffing them up with the haste, and also they're gonna get the attack buff from controlling the Honor Arena. I mean, the elite charms of Reinier and also the position swap attack is kind of wasted on Mikola because her damage output is not too high, but it's all about the positioning, right? You want Mikola to get to the front as quickly as possible and be right in the center location, not on the sides, because if you want Odie in the frontmost position like we have here, we would have to put Mikola on another tile, like to the side of him, and then she would run, and I don't think she would end up in the center, middle of the boss like she is here. So this team overall did better for me. It was more consistent, but of course it will require investment into Mikola, and a lot of people may not have that, and then you can just run the Smokey team. They get almost the same score. But Tidecall spell is really the winner. It's getting like on average 2 or 3% extra damage compared to the resonating spell. Okay, so far so good. And like, you know, when you watch from this position, you're like, oh wow, 40% of the boss health already, and everyone's at full health. There's no issue, right? But then the boss just blows everything up, like right here. But everyone managed to survive, but after the Coco ultimate wears off, they're still alive. See, this is the thing. Everyone is still alive, pretty much closing on the end of the fight. 51.56% with this team, and when I did a previous run, I had a little bit better luck, and I will just show you that record, because my overall best was with that Mikola team. 2895. I believe this is the one. And the formation was the same as we just showed, but we got a little bit better RNG, because right now we got 20.675, 200 million less. So the Mikola team on average more consistent. The team doesn't end up dying, but with the Smokey team, Smokey does end up dying towards the end, but you still get almost the same damage. Both really good options. Okay, now fully more free-to-play friendly options. If you don't, I'm going to assume you don't have Mikola, because like free-to-play would not have Mikola. Now, Smokey most people will have, so I think Smokey is a really friendly, free-to-play friendly option. I'm going to show this other example with Corin, and this is going to be, Corin is a pretty good damage dealer for Alpha Bear for a couple of reasons. First of all, he's not in melee range, he has a 2-tile attack range, so he's going to be, they're going to be 2 tiles away from the boss, so the boss will not hit him with his skill, which will apply honey onto adjacent enemies. So Corin is safe for that. You don't want to run another frontline damage dealer in this comp though, because Odie is already in the front. So that is important. Like, it has to have 2-tile range or longer. Corin also deals pretty good damage. He provides shielding and protection for your team, which can be important. It can allow you to survive for a bit longer. And yeah, and again, I mean, we're casting a lot of ultimates. We're going to keep giving the Corin the true damage. So I really like Corin in this team. So this is if you have Reinier at Mythic Plus and you don't have Lily May at Mythic Plus, then you can run this team, and it should get, let's take a look. I haven't tried it yet, but I'm expecting it to do pretty well. I think Corin at Mythic Plus is probably, after Lily May and Odie, might be the next best damage dealer option. And the shielding really can come in clutch. Like, if it is a perfect shield, it could maybe even allow the Smokey to survive towards the end where he normally wouldn't. And like, yeah, as you can tell, he keeps shielding the Smokey, which is really good. Or well, now he's shielded the Reinier, but yeah. Okay, so let's take a look. I'm guessing maybe we won't be able to get to 50% of the boss's health, but maybe around 48, 49%, which is still pretty good, because Lily May is a top damage dealer. Oh, okay, so Smokey went down there, which is pretty bad. 10 seconds left. We need to burst the boss with as much damage as possible. Okay, only managed to do 43 or so percent, so quite a lot lower than the Lily May team. Corin only got off 4.7 billion damage, but I do think maybe with better RNG and the shielding, he would be able to shield Smokey, and Smokey could survive for a little bit longer in the fight, and that could be good. Because when we look at the other damage dealer options, it's pretty much only Merrily or Corin. Maybe Merrily could do a bit more damage than Corin, so you could try out maybe Merrily instead of the Corin. If it doesn't change anything on the survival, then yeah, definitely you could do that. Now I want to try one final thing in actually mixing things up. We'll try the Merrily instead of the Corin as a damage dealer, and now we'll run the Thorin. So with this team, it's fine to run Thorin because still we do not have we only have one hero who is going to be in melee range of the boss, which is Thorin, because we're not position swapping the OD in this comp. Okay, so maybe Merrily could be better. The thing with Merrily though is she needs to survive, and all of your allies really should survive for as long as possible to stack up to Merrily's true damage, and then Merrily needs to survive as long as she can to get off all of her true damage over the course of the fight. Also, the thing is, true damage is just not as effective before getting to endless boss modes, so I don't know whether Merrily will do better than Corin. Possibly, and actually this is already looking pretty good, but it always looks good at this point, and then things go really badly. Yeah, so no shielding from the Corin, that's basically the difference. Smokey's definitely going to go down there. Merrily also goes down. Yeah, so I think Corin is the better option. This team didn't have Reinier, which is also going to reduce his damage, but I think running, we'll look at the damage from Merrily, but it seems like she goes down too quickly. Corin survived up until the end of the fight, so I think I would prefer Corin in this team comp. I mean, Merrily did do 4.9 billion damage, but Corin would have survived the whole fight and maybe even kept other allies alive. Okay, now trying Corin with the Thorin team. Let's take a look at what type of score we can get. So, I am really a fan of Corin and Alpha Bear. Maybe there are better options as a damage dealer, but I think if you're having at Mythic Plus, he's a pretty good option. He like does what needs to be done, and he survives as long as pretty much OD towards the end of the fight, which allows him to get off all of his damage. And I really think like potentially with enough runs, like you could get the perfect shield RNG from Corin, and then one of your heroes could survive longer than they normally should. Okay, 33 seconds down, 30% of the boss's health, and Smokey's still alive. Perfect. This is really good, really awesome. Okay, things are looking really good here. Now things are getting rough. Honey, oh wow, look at that shield. I think that shield did it. Kept the Smokey alive. This is what I'm talking about. So I think this is really, it shows you kind of the potential of Corin. 38.8%. And it was because Corin kept Smokey alive for a bit longer. 15.5 billion damage, 38.8%. If we compare it to the Reinier team that we tried, so now we've tried the Merrily version with Thorin, that did less, so Corin was better than Merrily. And then the Reinier version with Corin did a bit more, 17 billion damage. So I think Corin is your next best second damage dealer after Lily May. So this is what I would recommend. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching. That is going to be it for this video, and I'll hopefully see you guys in the next video. And until then, everyone, peace out for now, and thank you for watching.